Why are you asking me to live stream? We didn't want to live stream. There we go. Okay. No live streaming. It was like, do you want to live stream? I'm like, did it hear me say, and we're live? Like, did it hear? Then it heard you, your echo, and it was like, oh, maybe we're gonna be live over there.
Just help them out.
Yeah.
They need some help today. Let me help.
So let's help them out. And like speaking of AI, sorry, before we kind of get to like how you doing,
Yeah, I think this episode's going to be a little unhinged today, but
definitely not gonna be, yeah, like organized for what?
no.
So we were at the gym last week, Tristan and I. We decided to heat Pearl. First of all, this child is a whole five.
Oh my gosh.
He
You
was
literally,
just,
within the span of a year, he's like becoming a man. It's crazy.
I don't understand what's happening.
What happened? He turned 13 and now he's like a man.
I do that, like, when I talk to him, I literally,
Oh my gosh. It's going to be a real trip when his voice starts changing.
his voice has already changed.
Is it? Oh my god.
Like, it's, anywho, so we're at the gym. And it was such a beautiful moment because so where we live, it's a very this one lady said it the way she said it. I forget how she said black magic, black magic. It's
There
a
you go.
very black magic kind of city. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I mean there's diversity, but it's heavier on the black side of things, right? And so you see blacks, you see Hispanics, you see the rest is kind of a blend in there. So
It's mixy.
which is
It's mixy.
it's mixy, but it's definitely heavy on the black side, which is new for both of us, really and truly, like living in. And so the power of that is you walk into a space, like we're at the gym and we're getting signed up, and this black man, young man, he's in his 20s, is able to connect with where my 13-year-old is at, right? And I was like, wow. Like I've never experienced that before. He was like, how, let me guess how old you are. You what, 14, between 14, 16? No, he said 15, 16. And just, and, Tris was like, no, I'm 13 or whatever. And the guy was like, yeah, you know how I knew your age group? He's like, why? He's like, your confidence. And he just starts speaking to him in that way.
Yeah.
And this dude, he wasn't older than 30. No way. He was like in his early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
Maybe a little older than that, but he was young enough to where, like, for Tristan, what he was saying was relevant, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
It
not.
wasn't like too old where he's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And then the other guy that was actually signing us up, he was a little bit more reserved. He was 26 years old. And he was just telling, because like Tris was like, I don't want to go play ball because, there was at first he didn't want to tell the story, but I was like, do you mind if I tell? Because he went to the basketball court, but he didn't play with people. So
Yeah.
they're like, why not? And then he was kind of sitting there quiet. I said, hey, I asked him, do you mind if I tell what the story? Tristan was like, nah, it's cool. So I told him, well, he walked in there and he was like, there's adult men playing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't fool. No, they're
Right.
grown. They could knock me down. And he was like, he's like, they playing ball. Like they were doing like spins and stuff. Like
Yeah.
when he said windmills up and dunking, like he was like,
Yeah.
like I just shoot the ball. I just do this. He didn't say that. I'm just, being dramatic.
Yeah.
But so the guys were like, hey, there's a coach in there that coaches at this great university and this great university. And they're in there, they're scouting, they're looking for young talent like yourself. And, go in there, be confident, da, da, da. And then they're like, do you look up what kind of workouts do you need to be able to build strength for this, that, and the third. So they're telling him all these things that not just myself, because I'm a woman, I'm a girl. So like,
Yeah.
I don't, my words weigh on the mom side, but he's got great male influence in his life. And even those men tell him these things. And he's like, he listens. He does. He listens. He takes heed. But it's still, there's that age gap, right?
It's so like you don't know what the kids are doing these days. You're too old. So having someone who's like a bit still old enough to where like the advice is worth it.
Yeah.
But like not so old to where he's like, yeah. Like rolling like in one ear and out the other. I love that. Right. That's great. So now he's gonna have this new motivation.
Girl, it was restart to install. Can we snooze this? Okay. I'm like, don't start restarting the computer when we're trying to record. Anyway,
You're just telling stories.
that's it. That's it. That's it.
It's not the
So
moment.
yeah. So I guess if we're speaking highlights, that was a highlight of my day. There was a phone number underneath this window blind. I didn't know that. It's crazy. It's like it's a whole phone number there and the name of the. I'm like, how did I never? At least I don't lift the blinds up. I should do that more often.
It's dark in your house. Oh,
Well, I opened them, but I never lift. So I lifted the blind so that because I'm in front of a window right now. Because like, why not have natural light? I mean, it's
natural lighting.
you know.
Yeah.
And so, but like, if I open the blinds, it's gritty, and so like you would see like ripples.
Yeah.
But so I lifted them up, and I'm like, there's a phone number under there. Anywho, how was your week, girl? Let me stop. Let me stop.
My week was good. Did anything? I don't think anything. Do you know what I? Do you know what I told? I think I told my sister this week. I was on FaceTime with her. I was like, this week felt like one of those weeks, like if you were watching a movie or if you were reading, when you're reading a book and then they'll be like a few days later, something else happened, but like you don't actually know what happens during those few days because it's irrelevant. That's how this week felt. It felt like that, when they're like, as time passed, and like this week was just like the time that was passing. Like that's how this week felt. Like I'm the like asterisk of like time continuing before the next plot point. That's where I'm at right now. This week. It's just another week, Time was passing.
Time was passing, girl. Girl.
Or like in SpongeBob, where it would be like a few hours later. It's like the few hour, but like I have to live it because this is like reality. This is not a book. Like I have to live every day that's passing.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day
That's
that's
what
passing.
this week felt. So like it wasn't bad or anything. It was just like literally just every day was like just normal. It was like just a standard day.
You're like, do. Okay, Monday.
Yeah. I couldn't really tell you one exciting, eventful thing that happened this week. I went out to dinner last night with my friend Candace, and it was
Nice.
so good. There's a new vegan vegetarian sushi place, and it's
Ooh.
everything in there is vegan or vegetarian, and it was so good. It was expensive, but it was like so good. And I always enjoy like if I know that it's a vegan restaurant or vegetarian restaurant, and I don't have to like ask or like question,
Yes.
and I can just
Yes.
look at the menu and be
Order.
like, I don't have to look for a label. I know I can
Yeah.
have anything on this menu. And it's like super clear, and it was good too. I got this she got the dragon roll, but I think they used eggplant instead of eel or something.
Ooh.
So she got that, and then I
Like
got
eggplant skin.
I don't know. I don't know how they do it.
What
I
they
don't know how they do it. And then I got this. It was like miso cod or something, but it literally had. I don't know how they did it. I'll text you a picture of it. It
Yeah.
literally had it looked like fake caviar on the top, and like fake salmon. Like salmon roe.
Yeah.
The little it had like a fake version on top of it. It was so cool. I'm gonna text it to you right now so you can look at it.
Yeah. Let's see.
It was so good.
No, that's pretty great.
But it was a little expensive. And then we kind of had
Oh
like
my
a
gosh,
night.
are we live?
Oh, are we live on the internet?
I got a message.
Okay, so I guess we're doing a live episode.
What is happening? I got a message.
Are we
I'm
actually
like,
live? Is there a
no,
chat?
I don't see anything here, so I don't think we're live. Wait, but it says
No, we're
people
on the
chat.
live stream. No, we're live. We're live for sure. Because then if you open the chat, it says live stream chat.
Where?
Like, in the bottom where it says layout, people, whatever, and there's like the chat button. If you click on that, then at the top it says live stream chat.
Hilarious. Oh, that's mad.
Yeah.
Just a day, just an ordinary day. Just trying to get by.
We'll cut that out. Okay.
There is no cutting it out.
We might as well just stay live at this point.
Whatever. Let's see. Let's take a look at these sushis. Oh, that does look delicious. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it looks so good. Let me send you their page on Instagram too.
Yeah,
It is
how did they do
literally,
that?
I have no idea. It's magic.
Is that boba?
I don't know what it is because I was trying to taste it
Really
like
cool.
on its own. But it looks like fake caviar.
Yeah,
Like,
it
and they
does.
had fake salmon roe. But the salmon roe, we were trying to figure out. Candace says she thinks it's kind of like maybe like sweet potato or carrot or something.
Mm. No,
But it was
it
so
looks
good.
delicious. It looks delicious.
It was so good.
Okay, so I didn't really plan like pre-plan to talk through. Um, like
Great,
from a
because I
pop
have things
culture.
that I wanted to talk about. It's not a pop culture thing.
Okay.
I have
The
a thing
only
if you don't have things.
well, I only had one thing. The
Okay.
only one thing was like the only like was I'm like being a girl's girl.
Mhm.
Like as we kind of like roll into, February is the month of love. It's also Black History Month and like and then Women's History Month is do y'all do Women's History Month in Europe? Okay. Is in March, but like defining like being a girl's girl because I'm like seeing so many like women like bashing each other so much these days. Like, and I guess it's just like the times that I don't know if it's times that we're in or whatever, but like I'm like, come on, like when did we lose or has there ever been like being a girl's girl or like what is maybe I define it wrong. Maybe I don't maybe I have too much expectations of what it means to be like a girl's girl?
Stop being a girl's girl whenever like it suits them to like cater to men. Do you know what I mean? Like if it suits your I don't know, like your life or your comfortability to like cater to
Yeah.
men. Like if kind of like if the men in your life are the people that have the power, then I feel like you're gonna be less of a girl's girl as a woman. But if you maybe grew up like surrounded by women or grew up in like or like a more equal type household or like do you know what I mean? Or if you're just
Yeah.
around a lot more like powerful, strong women, then I feel like you would
Yeah.
be a lot more of a girl's girl.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of everything that's like just going on in the
Yeah.
world right now
Yeah. Go man.
that yeah that men are like really
I
trying
feel
to
left out.
yeah really trying to stake their claims a lot more
Yeah.
than they have in recent history that perhaps that's why there's more of it because like when the women out there that like base their whole
Yeah.
existence on like male acceptance means that they're like fuck y'all ladies.
Yeah, it's like I'm rolling with my man. And like
Yeah.
also like even like okay, so Valentine's Day, we're recording this February 1st. Okay. So Valentine's Day is in exactly
Two
2
weeks.
weeks from yesterday.
Yeah.
And yeah, cuz it's a Friday this year, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
2 weeks
Friday.
from yesterday. And so I had a trip here recently. I just got back and I was chatting with a friend and kind of talking about like relationships and situationships and like then like the grief that women give other women for how they choose to do relationship instead of you know what I mean? Like I think that's what really spawned it for me was like why instead of like women are always like ditch that man because da 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 or ditch this dude because da 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 but like we never really ask the question like hey what is it about this person that really has you like that you really enjoy right furthermore like when you kind of dig like why is it that you are with someone that maybe does not want commitment right now is there does it suit your lifestyle you know what I mean? Does it suit where you're at mentally? Like we don't ask each other those kind of questions. It's like, girl, you deserve better. You this, you that. Like, and I think women think that that's being a girl's girl, but it's like, like,
It's a,
why can't we just ask each other, like, hey, tell me more about this person. How do they make you feel, or how do you feel about yourself in this, and what do you want? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
yeah, Yeah.
I'm definitely always going to be a girl's girl in that
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah.
However, there are some good ones out there. I remember
Absolutely.
in the early days when we were first dating, I would say something like I would be planning to go do something, or like we were going to go out, or something to that effect, and it would be like a comments about like, well, actually I had a couple friends that did this. One that I wasn't super close to, and one that I was closer to, that would make comments about like, oh, well, he better be paying, uh, or like, do you know what I mean? Or like the like,
Yes.
well, I'm not doing anything. I wouldn't do that. Or like if I was like, oh yeah, I cooked dinner for us, or do you know what I mean? Something like that. And they'd be like, I'm not doing that. I'm not cooking for him. He's a grown man. Like, do you know what I mean? Stuff like that where I'm like, okay, that's a clear, so your kind of relationship and whatever relationship you're in is going to be very different from the kind of relationship that I'm in. And like, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm like, like, putting myself as like lesser than or
Yeah.
something, or
Yeah.
like hey, like giving him the power because I want to
Yeah.
do something nice for my
Right.
partner,
Right.
or like even in communication, it's like, if you're in a healthy relationship, you're gonna have disagreements and you're gonna have miscommunication, and there's gonna be things that you have to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, even in sometimes those situations where I'd be talking or venting about like how I really didn't like how he said something or did something. And then it would be like, well, you don't need to apologize to him. It's almost like you don't need to take any accountability because you're the woman in the situation. Right. So it's like like men have everything to prove and
Right.
I have nothing
Just
to
show up.
prove.
Just show up.
Which
Be
like
pretty.
I maybe for a certain type of man, for sure there are certain type of men out there that need to be checked, right, that need to be
Right.
checked
Right.
and wrecked.
Right.
However, like my partner is not like that, and I've also dated men in the past where like I might be in the exact same situation, but the context of it is different because of who they are as men.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
I remember feeling like, whoa, this is a really aggressive reaction or response. And actually, funnily enough,
Making
I'm like,
dinner.
yeah. Or like, if it was like a financial thing of like, I had like paid for a trip for his birthday. And before I even had a chance to be like, oh, we did this for his birthday, like it was super fun. Like, and also that was my choice and my
Yeah.
money
I
and
remember
how
what
I
trip you went
chose to
on.
spend.
Yeah, early on. Yeah, last year. Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
sweet. It
That
was
was
really
like, it
sweet.
was super early on. It was
Yeah.
only like a month into our relationship. But
Yeah.
also, up until very recently, like our finances were not equal. So also it would not have been fair for me to be like, you need to pay for this. I want to take you on this trip, but you have to pay for it.
Right. Right.
With when you're making way less money than I'm making. Like it's like it has to be equal given the context.
Right.
So like, or for example, like for most of our like birthday Christmas things, Sammy has done some sort of like really nice handmade or like craft, or like, do you know what I mean, like make something, and it doesn't cost anything because he couldn't afford to get me anything.
Yeah.
No, but it that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, because he didn't buy me a this or buy me a that like
That
I'm
he ain't shit.
somehow,
You're
yeah,
doing
that
it.
that
Yeah.
I'm somehow
Right. And that's what I
you know
mean. It's like that's not, to me, that's not being a girl's girl. Like being a
Mhm.
girl's girl is like, hey, like let me learn about your relationship. Let me learn about who this person is, what their character is, how let me understand what makes you just swoon over this guy and
Yeah,
just really dive into that versus saying, hey, because I have my traumas, because I have my mindsets, because I have the way that I would do this, that, and the third.
yeah,
Therefore, I should just like say that you should live your life the exact same way, the same way that expectations that I have or how I want to live my life. I should impose those exact same expectations on you. To me, that's not being a girl's girl. And I'm just having, and so as I was chatting with this friend, and I was like, yo, figure out what is it about your person that you're interacting with right now. What do you care about? And then the more we talked, it was like, well, I don't really know if I want to live in the US full time. And so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's actually going, she doesn't need to be coupled up with someone who is very certain about like, this is where I'm
They
at
want
in
to
life.
be
This is,
what their path is. Yeah, yeah.
and so being a girl's girl is saying, girl, I love this for you. I love that you have the ability that you have someone that you can, that is a good friend to you, that,
Mm-hmm,
and other
mm-hmm.
things, and that
Supportive.
supportive in many ways.
Eh.
Ew. Let me sip some water.
Anyways.
But yeah, like I think that we need to maybe we need to maybe redefine what being a girl's girl is like. It's not just saying bump that man, he ain't ish, da da da, but it's really looking out for your girls and wanting what they want for themselves, not what you want for them.
Or even what you want for yourself, right? Because
Ooh,
I think
yes, yes,
also
yes, yes,
it's
yes, yes.
also like if you're like, no, what the kind of men that need to be in my friends' lives are the kind of men that
Mm-hmm.
I want to have in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, period, go off. If that's the kind of man that you want the kind of man, like, you want the kind of treatment where you don't have to lift a finger and you want the man to do everything for you,
Good luck.
whatever, whatever.
First
First
of
of
all,
all,
good luck.
good luck. But second of all, like, there are men out there that will do that, but like, because
And half
that
the
is
time
not
they'll
the
beat
kind of,
your ass too.
like, it's all that's to
There's a give
me,
and take.
there has to be some level of like equal participation in a relationship. Like, it can't just, because if it's just one person with all the power, like, and also, you're going to feel like, I don't want to be under somebody's thumb, right? Like, if you, and this is the thing that people don't understand about like going completely on like a sidebar here of like kind of like the trad wife kind of community. Do you know what
Yeah.
that is?
No.
Of like, the trad wife community is like a thing on social media about like being a traditional wife, right? And all these trad wives are getting like, kind of getting bashed by like neo feminism, where it's
What
like
is neo feminism?
kind of like the new feminists generation of like, where they're like, sort of like being a homemaker, being like a stay-at-home mom and a homemaker is like looked down upon to some degree, right? Like, oh, you just want to like have kids and cater to your husband and cook him dinner all day long and da 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 da. Which, like, again, context is important. If you want to live the kind of life where you don't have to lift a finger, right, in terms of like your husband provides financially enough for you where you don't have to work, right? You don't have to really like take care of him like that. He takes care of the household and all of these things, and you want to be this version of a traditional wife, then like there has to be some level of like payoff for him too. If he's going to be doing all the work and you're just going to be at home, you are going to have to like cater to what he wants. Then you are going to
At all
have to be
times.
like, you know what I mean? So like, if
All
you're if
times.
you're
Down
an
to,
empowered
yes.
woman, I'm not saying that these women aren't empowered women, but if you're the kind of empowered woman that like wants to, have more freedom to move about your life,
Mm-hmm.
where you're not having to cater to this person because they're the ones taking care of you, so you have to then make them the
Bend the
priority. Like,
knee.
if you
You
want,
have,
yeah, like,
yes.
so if you
Or two
don't want to
knees.
be, then you're not gonna,
You didn't
the
get it.
kind of men that want to take care of you are not the kind of men that you really want to be with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I said a joke there. And like
I missed it
you were on a
completely. I
roll.
missed it completely.
I
I
said, yeah,
missed it
like bend the knee. And
completely.
I was like, or two knees.
You know,
At all times. I mean, that's just the
on
reality.
bended knee, on bended
On
knee.
bended.
And like I said, I do know that there are some women who have like super healthy dynamics with their husband, but they are in that more like traditional single income household kind of roles, and they just take care of the kids, and they're happy to take care of their
Well,
husband
which is a
because
lot. I
they're
will say it's a lot to take care of, like the household. It's a whole job on its own.
a
I will
hundred
say that.
percent,
Yeah,
a
it's a
hundred
whole job on
percent.
its own. The women that are at home that have nannies, that
Yeah.
have chefs, that are literally like, I don't want to do anything It's
Yeah.
like, so what benefit do you serve this man? Like, at least you take care of his kids. That's a huge, like, men appreciate that because, like, daycare, like, my child has gotten extremely sick in daycare. Like, he had
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hand, foot, and mouth. I don't know what they call it these days. And
Yeah. I think they
so,
still
if
call it
a,
hand foot mouth.
is it still called that? Okay.
I think so.
And it was really scary. You know, you get this crazy fever. I mean, blisters all over your hand,
Yeah.
feet, mouth, and it
Yeah.
shows up in like in an instant. I dropped him off. He was normal. I picked him up, and he was completely blistered.
Yeah.
And so, like, in that moment, I'm like, man, I wish I didn't have to go to work every day in this way where I could just like stay and take care of my kid, maybe have a business. Of course, I'm not going to like be dependent on you for cash or whatever, but like still have a way to make income. But then there's really this whole wave of women that are like, I don't want to truly lift a finger. I don't want to take care of the children. I don't want to do anything. And
I'm
like
just
I
like,
can't
why do you want to
understand
be in
that.
a relationship? I don't know.
They just want to be
But
taken
that's the
care of.
thing. They don't want to be in a relationship. They just
They
want to be taken
don't.
care of.
They just want to take
Yeah.
care of. They want a sugar
Yeah.
daddy. And so they
Yeah.
get pregnant by these, men that make money.
Yeah.
They're not about to be with no scrub. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a man that got money, and there's women that are in these type of relationships that do have their own. Okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking you
Mm-hmm.
outside of that bucket. I'm talking
Yeah.
specifically about us women that have nothing, and you're like, my come up is going to be by getting with a man that doesn't. And even in that, okay, if that serves you and that serves
Your life
that's
and
how
what
you
you
want
want
to
to do.
live,
Right.
baby.
But like, that's what I mean. And going back to the whole girl thing is like, like genuinely, if I'm your girl, okay, we're girls, okay, I know you, I know what kind of person you are, and
Yeah,
I know what kind of life you want for yourself. And like, if that is the kind of life that you genuinely want for yourself,
yeah,
I'm gonna support you,
yeah.
even if I'm like, that could never be me. But
It's
like,
like high five, girl. You did it.
I'm gonna support you because
Right.
I'm like, you got
Right.
exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's the ones that like, have an idealized version of what kind of relationships and I really think it's just because they got issues with men in general. You have unresolved
Yeah.
issues with men,
Yeah.
and so all men,
Ain't shit.
ain't shit. Which, look, like I said at the start of this whole thing, men really ain't shit. Most men really ain't shit. Okay.
Most men are good. Most men are good men. We're going to disagree there. Most men are good men. There's men that ain't shit that outpower the voice of the men that are great men.
I think that most men ain't shit, but I think that all men have the potential to be good. I think something happens kind of like from like 16 to adulthood where like all of a sudden
Yeah.
they ain't shit anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
a lot
like
of that,
whatever the plate the world hands them, now
it
they ain't
is.
shit anymore. You know
It
what I'm
is.
saying?
It's confidence. And it's confidence. It's like a lot of men are not confident,
Yeah.
like, and so like being able to gain that sense of confidence, like, hey, I can do things on my own. I
Yeah.
can solve problems. It weighs on them. And so that's why like parenting is like, it's such a hard job. So I
Yeah.
get irritated because you get confidence from your parents. Like that's like embedded. And so like
Yeah.
when you're not confident, you find an unconfident. I know when I was struggling with confidence. My lack of confidence came from my childhood.
Yeah.
Point blank
Same.
period.
Same. Same.
So they're like as parents, like parents need to do a better job of instilling confidence in their children, and but then you grow older, you can't blame your parents anymore. You got to figure that within yourself and like,
Even if that's where it came from, like you have to take accountability that like because of where that came from, you've now
yeah,
chosen certain behavioral patterns that you
yeah,
have to shift now.
you got to
Right?
shift it. You got to shift it. Don't like stop blaming. You can't. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for like giving me a moment of like sanity there because I was like, am I tripping or like are
No.
women just not? We just not girls anymore, or maybe we don't know what being a girl really is. And so yeah,
Yeah.
that was
No, but I felt it too, because I remember before I got into this relationship, I had dated a couple of people after my ex, but like
yeah,
this specific relationship, I remember being in that mindset of, and like, with all my single girlies of being like, I don't like, like men have something to prove to me and I don't give a
Yeah.
shit. And like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I remember being like heavy in that mindset, but also it's like,
Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember?
the new jingle for this podcast. But yeah, I remember being like heavy in that, but also during that entire time period, I was healing from all the toxicity from my last relationship. And because my previous partner had really hurt me, like in the way that he behaved and had really like, I really, really was broken from that
Yeah.
relationship. Men did
Yeah.
have something to prove to me because I didn't trust
Yeah.
any of them,
Yeah.
like I didn't trust none of y'all. So I finally got to the place where I met someone that like was the exception to the rule and like help like also within that helped me relearn how to like trust men again,
Yeah.
like to be
Yeah.
like, oh wait, they aren't all bad, I forgot, sorry,
Yeah. Yeah. My bad. Just
I forgot for
JK.
a second.
Yeah. And that's such a beautiful thing. And I think like, because I've been there before, and like when you can meet a man that can like rebuild your trust in men,
It's
like that's such a beautiful thing because
so
and that
healing.
yeah, it is. And you can heal. And some people are like, oh, girl, heal 100. First of all, ain't nobody ever going to be 100% healed. That's not possible. It's about finding someone that, hey, you get healed enough and they're healed enough to where you guys can come together and become the best versions of yourselves, right? Like, I don't think you should be like this perfect person before you meet. Then you're looking for this other I have spent 20 years healing myself. And so
Right.
if I come across a man that has not spent 20 years trying to heal himself.
Well, because there's a big part, and I learned this too when like through the act of like being with my partner, is that
Yeah.
like there is so much healing that you do for yourself by yourself,
Yeah.
but learning how to heal like past relationship trauma, past relationship patterns, past relationship dynamics, like communication, like all of that, you have to do that with another person. So
Period.
like you
Wait, hold on, hold on. Roll that roll.
you have to do it with another person. You have to. Because I didn't even, as healed as I thought I was, even now, we've been in a relationship now for like almost 2 years, right? Is like even now, there will be things that come up in our like in an argument or in a discussion or in a whatever between he and I that I'm like, I didn't even realize that was a thing that still triggered me because I hadn't been in a healthy, solid relationship with another person for those things to come up. Because those things wouldn't come up when I'm just on my own. They'll
On
come
your
up
own.
within in the act of me dating someone or in the act of me like being with where I'm like, ooh, that's a thing that triggers me. That is not a thing that I realized still triggered me. Why is that thing still triggering me?
And you're gonna
I
have
don't
the
like that.
people that there's gonna be folks that are lifetime therapy goers. They're going to
Yeah.
say, and that's the reason why you should go to therapy before you get in a relationship, because your therapist will uncover every single thing that potentially could trigger you. No, your therapist cannot. And that's
Life is
why
unpredictable.
life is unpredictable. And that's why people sit in therapy for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1,000 years,
Yeah.
because something's always going to come up.
Yeah.
It's going to come up. And rather than running to the therapist to try to, why is this coming up? No, go to the person and talk through it. Therapy to me is about like getting enough understanding like how to manage through your triggers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That to me is what therapy, they give you the tools. How do I manage through when someone upsets me? How do I manage through when I'm starting to feel that flight in me? How
Yeah.
do I manage
Yeah.
through these things? That's what therapy should be doing. But we're using therapy as, let me go talk to my bestie when I get into an argument with my man, instead of using the tools that I should be gaining as to, hey, let me just go, you get into an argument. Okay, some people can resolve it right then and there. Some people can't. Maybe your partner cannot resolve, like needs a moment. How do I sit my happy ass down for a second, give this person the timeout they need, In fact, I need the timeout too to clear my head so I'm not speaking off of emotion. So
Yeah.
that, but we need to, hey, we're going to get in the relationship. We're going to agree that this is the amount of time that we go without solving the problem. An
Yeah.
hour, 2 hours, take a beat, think through it, and then let's come back and then at least align on, hey, what is our potential path forward? How are we going to talk about this going
Well,
forward?
because to be
Whatever.
honest, that is what a relationship is. Like, that is what a relationship is communication, it's talking things
Yeah.
through. It's like, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? There are
Yeah.
other aspects of being in a relationship, but literally, like, having a relationship with someone is having that back and forth and having. I have a relationship with you. We have a back and forth. We talk through things. We talk about things. I have a relationship with my family, my friends. Right? When you're in a romantic relationship, there are aspects of that are like, there's physical aspects of that. There's the sort of like bonding and memory making and that aspect of it too.
Mm-hmm.
But there is like, because if you really are trying to be with somebody, if you are truly trying to be with your person, and that's like, this is my down bad person from now until the day we draw our last breath, right? The majority of all of those years is gonna be you having to communicate with this person to some level.
Yeah.
So like, you can't just be like, I'm gonna just show up for 50 years. Like, that doesn't work that way. You're good if you want to have children or want to adopt or have, or even if you just
Even
want fur
pets.
babies. If you just want fur babies, you have to like communicate. What are the responsibilities? How are we gonna, maybe how your partner sees pets in the home is a different way than you're seeing how the pets are going to be in the home. You have to talk about that.
Exactly. You got to talk about that. Like,
So
because you want the
doing
baby
this
sleep in the
thing of
bed?
like, I'm not doing anything for you, I'm not showing up for you, I'm not like, it's just like, it's just not realistic. It's
It's
not
not.
realistic.
It's not. It's not. It's not. And dear girlies, and I guess we can wrap up and go to
Go to a different topic.
another with
Yeah,
this,
before
but
we.
like, dear girlies, let's start being true girls and ride for our friends and what
Yeah.
our girls actually need, not what we want for ourselves
Yeah.
or which we're trying to act like we want that for them. So
Right. Unless they're being straight up disrespected. Like, if you're being straight up disrespected,
oh yeah, that
I don't give a fuck about that guy. But like, if he's like treating you bad and
yeah,
disrespecting you,
yeah,
that's a different. We're talking
that's
about just
different.
regular schmegular like
Yeah,
relationship dynamics. That
yeah,
is just different.
yeah. Thanks for adding that disclaimer because somebody gonna say,
Somebody
well,
can
but
say something. Right,
yeah,
right, right,
if
right. We're just
abuse,
talking about
okay,
different types of relationship dynamics that may
right,
not be
right,
necessarily what you envision for your friend or
yes,
yourself. And
yes,
that's what we're talking about.
yes,
Where
yes,
everyone's
not
respecting everyone and like there's no
right,
there's no like
not a
there's no
jerk,
abuse.
yeah, no abuse, no cheating.
Yeah.
Like, do you want
That's
that for
all
yourself to
different.
catch STDs?
Right.
And if you want that for yourself to catch STDs, hey,
Bitch,
look,
go off.
go. I can stick around and support you through that, though. I think at that point our friendship has to end. I'm sorry.
At some
I
point we have to
can't.
have common sense. Common sense
Because you're
aside.
going to keep crying a river. And
Yeah, no, absolutely.